Hey guys, welcome back to the Mr. Snook channel. Andre here, and today I'm bringing you part 2 of the GTA 5 Mission Curiosities series. In this video, we'll pick up right at the mission casing the jewel store and cover about 7 or 8 missions moving forward, mainly diving into Trevor's early missions. So if you haven't watched the previous video, the link is down in the description. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. In the mission casing the jewel store, Lester makes a reference to Niko Bellic, mentioning a European thief who used to operate in Liberty City but has now disappeared. He also talks about the McCreary family, stating that most of the crazy Irish crew have vanished, which is quite strange if you think about it.
We're gonna need a crew. I can round up some of the old guys.
There are no old guys. Moses, ironically, he found Jesus. All those Irish crazies, they mostly just disappeared. That crew from the south, they all went down. There was an Eastern European guy making moves in Liberty City, but he went quiet.
Lester even mentions the GTA Online protagonist, calling them unpredictable and explaining that's why he doesn't choose them for any heists. During the drive, Lester reveals to Michael that he's aware of the entire scheme he pulled off. Lester has been keeping an eye on the monthly payments Michael made to David Norton, highlighting the unusual witness protection deal Michael arranged that allowed David Norton to take credit for killing Michael.
Jeez, dude. Your FIB buddies, they know you're back in business?
FIB buddies? What are you talking about?
I checked out the WPP thing. Doesn't look like any WITSEC program I'm aware of. Well, for starters, they don't put witnesses up in multi-million-dollar mansions in Rockford Hills.
Oh, maybe they thought this would be the best cover.
And most witnesses don't transfer 5-figure sums into a particular FIB agent's bank account every month. Of course, the money gets moved around and washed through a number of fronts, but the trail is there. Deposits and withdrawals, the same sum every month. Agent Dave Norton, white, middle-aged divorcee, unremarkable career, except for one incident, the shooting of a notorious stick-up man, Michael Townley.
Yeah, all right. Lester, I'm very impressed.
On the way back from scouting the jewelry store, Michael mentions Franklin to Lester, describing him as almost professional. Lester replies, "Your call, it's your funeral."
There's this kid who's been helping me. Maybe we could cut him in.
I don't work with amateurs.
He ain't an amateur. Or if he is, he's a gifted amateur about to turn pro. He's a good kid, Lester.
You know what they say, it's your funeral. One of them, at least.
Ironically, if you choose ending B, it's Franklin who ultimately causes Michael's funeral. Moving on to the jewel store job, if you pick the cheapest crew for the heist, Michael gets noticeably frustrated and complains to Franklin about hiring amateurs, saying he's doing it because he needs money.
Hey, so you made savings on the personnel, huh?
Yeah, well, I figure they're on Lester's list of potentials. They can't be that bad.
Sure, man. What could go wrong?
Cheap hacker, cheap driver, cheap gunman. Pretty much everything could go wrong.
We got this, man. Don't worry.
Great! The novice is reassuring me. Oh, brother.
On the flip side, if you select the most expensive team, Michael grumbles about how much of the cut he has to give away, justifying it by saying he's rusty and didn't want to take any chances. Even so, he finds it ridiculous how much the top-tier crew charges for their expertise.
They got money and their freedom on the line.
I ain't gonna fuck this up, man.
Good. I got enough shit to worry about.
What you got to worry about?
I don't know. I ain't done any real work in years, so I'm giving half the take to guys who are supposed to be the best in the business.
All right, then it's all taken care of. You on top of shit?
Yeah, do I need to give 12% to a gunman? 14% to a driver? 15% to a hacker? And that's on top of all the other outlays. I feel like a chump buying myself a score.
Shit. I guess we'll find out if they worth it, right?
The jewel store job is the only heist where you don't necessarily have to kill anyone. At most, you might take out a few patrol officers, but it's optional. If you're skilled enough, you can finish the mission quickly without much resistance. This heist is also one of the most forgiving parts of the game, where the mechanics seem to cheat to ensure you succeed. For example, the truck Michael drives during the escape is unusually tough. Just tapping into police cars completely disables them, which is far from realistic. If you manage to lose the cops, you can roam freely and even return to the jewelry store to explore. However, the store will be fully repaired and you won't be able to rob it again. If this were possible, it would have been the best money glitch in the game with endless jewels to collect. But Rockstar, of course, was smart enough to prevent that. Now let's move on to the mission Mr. Phillips. The real reason Trevor kills Johnny Klebitz is because Johnny calls him a motherfucker. This phrase is a clear kill trigger for Trevor. You can see this pattern in Trevor's side missions, where people insulting him in similar terms often mission leads to him going on a killing spree. Johnny's death marks the second death of a protagonist in the GTA series and is the first time we see one protagonist kill another. After Johnny's death, you have an irregular option to kill Ashley, Johnny's girlfriend. This can only be done using explosives or by running her over at the very start of the mission. If you kill her, the game suggests burying her in the desert to avoid witnesses and a confrontation with the lost MC. However, if you spare Ashley, she still ends up dying later from an overdose in a bizarre situation involving other characters. Either way, Ashley's fate is sealed, which is why some players prefer to end her story right at the beginning. During this same mission, you have to take out some bikers later on. Interestingly, if you manage to kill the driver of the van heading toward the lost MC's camp, the van will still follow its predetermined route as if nothing happened. After starting the mission, Mr. Phillips, Michael, and Franklin become temporarily unavailable since they're lying low after the jewelry store heist. Strangely enough, this only happens after the jewel store job and not after any other heists in the game. In the Japanese version of the game, the scene where Trevor is having relations with Ashley at the beginning of the mission doesn't exist. Instead, it cuts straight to the part where Trevor is watching TV and hears Michael's classic line, realizing that he's still alive. In the mission Nervous Ron, when you arrive at Amu Nation, the clerk tells Trevor to take whatever he wants because he doesn't want another fire. Imagine the kind of chaos Trevor must have already caused there.
Melvin, how you feel about brand synergy, huh? TP Industries, Ammunition. Good, because you're about to make a corporate gift of a rifle, a high-powered scope, and a suppressor.
Take whatever you want, Trevor. I can't afford another fire.
Interestingly, in the beta version of the game, the original plan was to take over the Angels of Death's airport, but for some reason, they were replaced with the Lost MC in the final version. In the mission Trevor Phillips Industries, when you're driving to the meth lab with Mr. Cheng and his assistant, if you play electronic music on the radio, Tao Cheng starts dancing in the car. If you switch the station, he immediately stops and you can repeat this over and over. It's fun. If you didn't kill Ortega in the previous mission, he'll be the one coming after you during this mission. On the other hand, if Ortega is already dead, the Aztecas will show up for revenge. Interestingly, if Ortega attacks and you take too long to react, in case you didn't kill him, Chiefs might end up killing him, but he'll still praise Trevor as if he were the one who took care of it. Regardless, in this mission, Ortega must be killed. The game won't allow him to escape, likely to prevent future revenge plots. If you already have a grenade launcher in your inventory when replaying the mission, the cutscene where the Chief hands the weapon to Trevor won't play, as the game recognizes you already have it. In Crystal Maze, if you try calling a taxi, you'll be informed that no taxis are available, which makes Trevor even angrier. After speaking with Tang, you can enter the bar and kill everyone inside without failing the mission. This mission also has a unique feature: you can't gain any wanted levels. This means you can wreak havoc in the streets, steal a helicopter, grab a car, or blow everything up without worrying about the cops. However, this only works in the later versions of the game. It's not possible in the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions. Additionally, during this mission, you can enter Fort Zancudo and steal military vehicles without consequences, but again, this feature is exclusive to the updated versions of the game. In the mission Friends Reunited, while Trevor is on his way to Los Santos with Wade, he recounts how he met Michael and how they became friends. To avoid making it too obvious that he's talking about himself and Michael, Trevor changes their names in the story, calling Michael Michelle and himself Trisha, among other variations. He even describes Michael and Amanda as trolls. It's a wild but interesting narrative that highlights Trevor's creative and somewhat twisted storytelling.
About that boy, Trisha? Yeah. Where were we? Right. So, this kid, he could fly planes. So, he signed up for the Air Force to fly all day long and bomb villages and maybe, just maybe, drop the nuke. And it was all going well until one day, just before he got his wings, an evil witch in charge of psychological evaluations told him he was unstable and grounded him for life. That's terrible. It was. Sent him into a deep pit of doubt, despair. And just then, just as he hit rock bottom, he met a fat, silver-tongued troll under a bridge. That's cool. What was the troll's name? Michelle. A lady troll? Yeah, he had tits like one, but no, he was a boy. Michelle is a funny name for a boy. Well, this was a funny boy. He sat under his bridge, robbing anyone who passed him by. Sometimes he'd go into town and rob the shops and inns and such. And he persuaded our hero that maybe he should rob people too. And you know what? Little Trisha did rob people, and little Trisha was good at it.
After completing this mission, you can make Trevor and Franklin meet even before their official introduction in the storyline. While there are no programmed interactions between the two, if one attacks the other, either Trevor attacking Franklin or vice versa. They'll engage in a shootout, and one of them will end up killing the other. However, this doesn't impact the progression of the story at all. Moving on to the mission Fame or Shame, there's an intriguing quirk. If you kill Michael right at the beginning of the mission, which starts automatically, you can make Michael and Trevor meet before the point where it's supposed to happen in the storyline. However, their interaction is non-existent. Even though they already know each other in the story, you can't attack or meaningfully interact with the other character, unlike the shootout possibility when Trevor and Franklin meet earlier. If you switch to Michael after he has respawned at the hospital, the game forces him to be transported to the mission's starting point, ensuring the storyline continues seamlessly. In this same mission, we come across an interesting figure, Laszlo Jones. For those who might not know, Laszlo is one of the few characters who transitioned from the 3D universe to the HD universe. He was known as a radio host and commentator in games like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, besides maintaining his presence on the radio with his programs and commentary, he makes a physical appearance in GTA 5, which is a rare occurrence. The same applies to Chris Formage, who was previously heard on GTA San Andreas radio, promoting his cult. In GTA 5, he makes a physical appearance, further enriching the game's universe by tying together characters from different generations. It would be interesting if more characters from the older generation made a comeback too. And guys, in the first video of 30 curiosities about GTA 5 missions, I also shared some shocking details you probably didn't know. Click on the video indicated by the arrow to check it out. And that's for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Take care and bye.